Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here to announce the new 10-year, $58 million contract that we've been able to put together with our longtime partner, Nike. This is continuing an over 10-year relationship with Nike that Clemson has, and we're excited about that. Just a little backstory as to how it all came about. Around the 1st of December, we got a call from the folks at Nike asking to come forward and talk to us about a renewal of the contract. We were very excited about that. We had some great discussions with them, worked through our process, and I've got to give kudos to Tim Match and Graham Neff of our staff, and certainly Chip Hood and the legal staff for being able to go through all the details of the contract. But when you look at what we're doing here at Clemson, certainly within our football program and some of our other athletic programs as well, we're seeing great success, and I think Nike's recognized that as well. One of the other things, the last time we had done a contract, and I believe it was 2015, in those discussions with Nike, it was how do we move up into one of the higher level contract areas within the Nike organization. And a lot of that had to do with licensing and the sale of our products. You know, as you all know, Clemson does not have the largest alumni base, doesn't have the largest number of students, isn't in an incredibly populated area of the country compared to other partners that Nike might have. So we made a concerted effort, whether it's through social media, through some of our other communications methods, to increase the sale of our products. And I got to give thanks to our fans and all of the folks who were out there who bought those Nike products, because that really did make a difference. That's the reason we were able to be in the position that we were in, and Nike looking at us as a valued partner, and we certainly look at them as a valued partner as well. You know, not only from a day-to-day contractual piece where the student athletes and coaches will get their gear to help perform on the field, but we've also done an awful lot of things with their social media group as well. And Jonathan and his team have hosted them here. We've actually gone out to Nike to have conversations with them, with their people. And one of the great compliments was from their staff is we want to do some of the same things from a social media and from a communications base like Clemson does. You know, whether it's the vlog or whether it's some of the other pieces that you've been able to see. So that relationship and that contractual relationship with Nike goes far beyond just hats, t-shirts, and uniforms. It really kind of helps quantify how we are looking to create a better communications department as well. So with that, just want to say thank you to Nike, and thanks to all the people that really helped pull this together. We're proud and happy to have Nike as a partner for the next 10 years. Questions?
Dan, when you said about revitalizing and modernizing the social media apparatus however many years ago, did you ever envision or think that it could pay off in this way? Sort of, I don't want to say indirectly, but I'm guessing that wasn't.
No, Larry, when we started to do some of the things we've done with social media, we did it from really the platform of engaging our fan base, but also sending our message and our brand to prospective student athletes and letting them know about Clemson, and that being the communication tool of choice. We wanted to make sure that we were there in a very positive way. Nike along the way said, you know, this can help do some things from a licensing perspective as well. So we were able to take that and move it into a different level there.
Did you look at any other companies like Adidas, or has it always been Nike?
Well, remember how it started. Nike came to us, and we still had a couple of years left on our current contract. So it was really something that was, it kind of said that, hey, we were good partners, and we wanted to be able to make sure that we can keep this moving forward for a number of years.
What were the terms of the previous contract, 2015?
Ooh, not this good. I really don't know that many off the top of my head, but we can certainly get that for you.
What's
speaking with the Nike people and talking about the brand name that Clemson has become over the years, what do they tell you as far as Clemson and their value?
Well, they have a lot of different metrics, many of which we aren't privy to measure a brand's value to Nike. But one of the things that they did share with us was the fact that they saw the leap in sale of our merchandise, and certainly that is a testament to the success certainly that our football program has had. So they look at that as one of their benchmarks, and how does that stack up from percentage of how many alumni do you have, how big's your student body, how big's your geographic base, and we were performing incredibly well with those metrics. So I think that gave them, our representatives from Nike, the ammunition to kind of move up the ladder and say, hey look, we want to lock these folks in because they're doing really good things.
And what's going on at Ohio State right now, does that kind of force you to reevaluate your protocols that you have in place and the communication up and down the chain of command, so to speak?
We do that each and every day. I mean, that's a focus of ours within our department, working with our institution and each one of our coaches and our teams. That's something that we keep right at the top of the list.
I'm sorry if you've already said this, but where does this place Clemson in terms of appearance deals nationally, or do you have kind of an idea? We're top 10, top 15?
I would say that we are a top 8 Nike deal. As you look at some of the other Adidas, Under Armour, I'm not exactly sure, David, where that throws us, but this is a top 8 Nike deal.
The new baseball contract was announced today as far as a neutral site game. How did that kind of come about? What are your thoughts on playing in Columbia?
Well, we have the arrangement that was with Greenville was coming to a close. So Coach Tanner and myself had a few conversations, as well as Kyle Young and Kevin O'Connor of their staff, solicited bids from places around the state to host that game. And as we evaluated those, since the last time we did this, a new ballpark has come on board, obviously in Columbia. So as we evaluated all of those bids, we came down to the fact that, from a student-athlete perspective, from a fan perspective, going 4 years, 2 in Greenville, 2 in Columbia, made an awful lot of sense. It was good economically, and I think it was really good from a fan perspective.
Do you have any worries about it being so close to their campus down there as far as a neutral site?
Not really, because we're going to get half the tickets. So I think that we have a lot of fans in the Columbia area, and we're going to hope for them to come out to Spirit Communications Park and cheer on the Tigers when that game is at that stadium, because as is the case here and is the case there, visiting fans have a very difficult time getting tickets inside the home ballpark.
Dan, a lot of Clemson fans have asked me since it came out, they wanted to know how this is advantage to Clemson, because they look at it as a second home game for the Gamecocks.
Well, as I was just saying, it's really, we get half the tickets at Spirit Communications Park, they get half the tickets, and the same thing happens in Greenville, where we split the tickets on the neutral site game. So we have a lot of fans in Columbia, and this would be an easy way for them to watch the ball game.
I think they're thinking more from a logistics standpoint, especially with your team involved, with the travel and having to stay an extra night in a hotel, as where Carolina's going to be sleeping in their own room.
Well, and you can flip that to the next year when we're here at Clemson and then we go to Greenville. So I think that that's really the continuum that we have over the 4 years. The coaches all weighed in on this. I know I talked to Monty about it. He was fine because it's not all in one place or all in another place, and I think that we'll make the logistics work on that. Baseball players spend a lot of nights in hotel rooms during the course of the year, so we didn't look at that as being a factor. Our big issue was we're going to split the tickets between Clemson and South Carolina, and we're going to look forward to our fans being there at the ballpark just as they look forward to their fans being in the Greenville ballpark each and every year.
Was part of it not wanting with some of the other venues, and can you kind of speak about some of the other venues, how much travel would have been, say if you were to go to Myrtle Beach or somewhere like that?
Well, I think just, you all live in the state, you know the geography. It's a little bit further to go to the coast, and what day is that the first game, is that the last game, who's going to travel back? But we evaluated all of that along with the dollars and cents that came forward from the bid.
Did Columbia have the highest bid?
They were amongst the highest, yes. I mean, it was pretty close. They were all kind of pulled together, Clemson or Columbia and Greenville.
Do you ever think that it'll go back to Charleston or maybe play Myrtle Beach one? Do you ever think that'll happen?
It certainly could. Again, it really boiled down to some logistics as it related to that. One thing that you never say never as it relates to those kind of things, but we wanted to lock in this 4-year period and just kind of put it behind us and then see where that takes us after 2022.
I know that there have been maybe some reports that Georgia and LSU could be on the football schedule down the road. Are you guys still having conversations?
We're still having conversations with those two that you mentioned and others as well. Football scheduling is like a cake that never bakes. It just kind of goes on, and we're trying to get our schedule taken care of through the decade of the 20s. We're close, but we'll look forward we'll get that news out as soon as it's done. And I think, believe me, there's nothing more that I would like to, and Kyle Young, who works in our office on football scheduling, than to get that out, because football scheduling takes a lot of different twists and turns.
How exciting will it be if that does end up being finalized to get to play some of those SEC schools?
Well, I think it'd be great. I mean, you can look at our past history. I mean, that's kind of what we do. Right? We have our rival game with the University of South Carolina, but we also have looked to try to play another Southeastern Conference opponent each and every year. Auburn for 3 years, Georgia, Texas A&M obviously the next 2 years. ACC is a little different because we're sprinkling in Notre Dame as an opponent as well, so we have to be mindful of that.
With LSU in particular, can you kind of share how that conversation got started?
Well, you do know, Matt, that I used to work there. So I know a lot of folks there.
Right.
And it's just keeping in contact with people, trying to see if dates work. I mean, see people at conferences or whatever. And I don't know of many athletic directors that, when they see one another, if there's an interest in playing, they would say, "Hey, Matt, you got anything open?" Because you just always have to have that conversation, not knowing if something had just happened on their campus that maybe changed something in their schedule. So it's almost part of the standard read.
Could you ever envision like a centralized governing body that takes control of scheduling, kind of takes it out of your hand?
I would hope not, because I think that's one of the things, our ability through relationships to create really good games, and games that make sense for us. I mean, playing teams like Auburn, playing teams like Georgia, and other Southeastern Conference schools are geographically positive for us, and we want to be able to do that. I wouldn't want a computer to say, well, they finished 4th in the country, they finished 12th, so the 4 and 12 team are going to play, and they have no, they don't have any type of background or any type of relationship between the fan bases or the teams. I think that would be, just too antiseptic.
I know you've always been the advocate of an 8-game conference schedule, but is that something that you could see coming under more scrutiny in coming years?
I've talked about it before. 8-game conference schedule works because we have Notre Dame in the mix. And if you go to more conference games with Notre Dame, there could and a school like Clemson that has a built-in SEC or a built-in rival, SEC or not, but a built-in rival. Therein lies what could be an 11-game Power 5 schedule, which could be problematic. And then certainly we want to make sure one of our primary focuses is to keep 7 home games each and every year here in the Valley.
Would that be such a focus? Could you guys play a neutral site, one of those kind of big start the season games, or would it need to be home and home?
No, Clemson has played neutral site games in the past. It just has to, there's a few dominoes that have to line up for that to happen.
Dan, I remember back in June when you talked with us, you said that part of Jervey had been turned into studios for the ACC network, and that you guys could produce an event if you had to. This coming year, I know the network doesn't go online until next year. This coming year, will there be tests of it in the sense that you will test how you can produce events?
Testing of events, I'm sure, will occur.
Yeah.
I think that any good operation, especially one that ESPN has its letters with, is going to have a number of tests before the actual launch. Yes, we'll have those. I don't know when and where those games might be and how elaborate the tests will be, but I'm sure there will be some to go on.
Anybody else?
Yeah, back to the apparel deal, the 10-year deal with Nike. I guess, what does a 10-year deal actually look like? Is it going to be like, in the course of the next couple of years, like new jerseys coming out, like, in terms of merchandise and things like that? What does a 10-year deal look like?
Well, I think we always have the ability to talk with, and Nike comes back to us with ideas. They've been doing that for a number of years, and our uniforms have basically stayed as they have been in a number of our sports. Some of our sports have tried some new and different things. So I think that's part of the partnership. But you know, the 10-year deal really just solidifies the relationship as it goes with our coaches and our teams, but also a lot of our departments as well, and specifically our communications department, so that we can, you know, send the right messages, and from a licensing perspective, look at what kind of gear is selling in the public, so that we could make sure that we do more of that as time goes on. All right. Thanks, everybody.